Hi, my name is Van Brooks. My organization is Safe Alternative Foundation for Education. Safe Alternative Foundation for Education, in short, is SAFE, is a nonprofit that I started back in 2012 to teach middle school students the importance of having an education and a backup plan for life. And we do that through hands-on vocational experiences and exposure to the world outside of their communities. The experiences and the exposure that will connect the dots between the classroom, the real world, and then give them insight into potential career paths that they can explore. So I'm inspired to do this work because I truly feel that it's my purpose in life. A little backstory is that I was a three-sport athlete at Loyola Blakefield. And during my junior year in high school, I went in for a routine tackle during a football game and I broke my neck in two places, which left me paralyzed from the neck down. And throughout my entire journey of trying to recover, I used to always ask the question, why me? And it came to me literally in a dream to start a nonprofit. And once I started a nonprofit, I realized that everything that I was going through was preparing me for the work that I was about to embark on with this nonprofit. I truly feel that it was my purpose. The answer to the question, why me, um, was presented in doing this work. And so it makes it very easy for me to push forward and do this every single day. So the work we do impacts community wellness through, there's a lot of ways. One, I always say a lot of times people in underserved communities have paralysis. And it may not be a physical paralysis, but a lot of times it could be a mental paralysis. And it could be because of a lack of education or lack of resources, lack of opportunities, or lack of just exposure to things outside of their surroundings, right? How can a person truly strive for something if they've never been exposed to it or if they don't know it exists? And so by helping our students gain that type of exposure, um, we can begin to see some trajectory changes, not only in our students, but that ripple effect. Once you throw a pebble into a pond, it starts one ripple and the ripples get larger as it goes out. By working with students, the minute we get a student to change the trajectory that they were on, um, that is now a part of the family. And so now other family members can begin to see that these types of things are possible or that these things do exist. And so when you begin to change the trajectory of an entire family, you truly begin to see how the community can change. And because there are so many social determinants to just health in general, the sooner and the quicker we can change communities and change individuals, the healthier individuals can be. Our offerings, I say, we have three focus areas, and the focus areas are health and fitness, literacy, and STEAM. And what we do within those areas range year to year. An example would be for STEAM. We have an engineering program where we teach students how to build go-karts. And the whole purpose of it is to teach them engineering concepts, giving them that hands-on experience of actually building something, and then understanding that that is a potential career path that they can go into. And then to bring it all together, we have a culminating event where our students get to race their cars against each other throughout the community. So we'll block off streets, we'll invite the community out. Every year that we've done it, we've had at least 200 people that showed up. So that's one example of STEAM. Health and fitness, that can be from healthy eating. We have a chef on staff, so she cooks healthy meals, but she also does cooking classes. And so that shows our students, the way to eat healthy, but also incorporating exercise into that. So that way they're getting their exercise in it, whether that be playing a sport or going to the gym, working out, or learning boxing, something like that. And then another major program that we run is a woodshop program. Woodshop connects the dots between math and the real world, right? So why are fractions and decimals important? How can our students use that in their real life outside of the classroom? Normally our program is an after school center, 3 to 6. But because of COVID, we had to adjust our programming completely. So when COVID first hit and everything shut down, like many other organizations, we turned to virtual. And so we did a 10-week virtual program called Together We Can. And Together We Can was just keeping our students engaged as much as possible during this time. We had a lot of different programs like poetry, art. We did something called Celebrity Fitness, which was really cool, where we partner with current and former professional athletes to teach workout classes to our students. Once some of the restrictions started to lift in July of 2020, we returned back in person with a modified schedule for our summer camp. Normally we will have 20 students at summer camp. We changed our model to 12 students, 6 students a day with my 4 staff. So that way it was only 10 students or 10 individuals together at one time in the building. And we were still able to travel as much as we possibly could, but just with that modified schedule. And that went so well that our parents, our students, as well as our partner school, the principal, reached out and said, hey, would you mind putting together a learning pod where our students could come from 8 to 3 during the academic day. And this came after Baltimore City Public Schools announced that they would be going back to school virtual. And so since September, we've been running an in-person learning pod for 20 students. And then again, CDC rules and the limitations increased. So we were able to have 15 people in the building at one time. And so what we did was we went to 10 students a day. We had 20 students in total enrolled, so 10 students a day, my 4 staff, and 1 intern. And we were there to help our students during the academic day. They did their virtual classes with their teachers, but we provided some additional support. So if they need additional tutoring, we were there. We provided, of course, internet access. We provided the 2 meals a day. But another major part of it was providing that social interactions. Our kids weren't isolated. They were with their peers. They were learning in a classroom setting, even though they were doing their majority of their work virtually with their teachers. They were still in the classroom setting with adults and their peers learning and just having fun. And we were still able to incorporate some of the field trips that we typically would do during our normal programming into the day. When we have students that come in and say, you know, Coach Van, this has helped me, or when you see the success that our alum are having, you know, one alum having gone to private schools, never heard of a private school until I took him to a school one day. Told me he wanted to go to a private school. He went to a private high school, 4.0 GPA the entire time there, was accepted into 18 colleges and over $600,000 in scholarships, right? And so when you have those types of success stories, and that's just one student, but when you have those types of things that you can go back and look at and say, you know what, you know, everything that I go through on a day-to-day basis, whether it's fundraising, whatever it may be that I go through, is all worth it, because at the end of the day, it's having a real impact on people. And again, going back to trajectory changing, his trajectory for his life has changed. And he's already enrolled his little sister to come to the program, right? And so now we're starting to see a generational thing at some point in time. And so that's definitely the thing that keeps me going. It's just my purpose and seeing the success of our students. We can truly make a change in our communities. No matter how small it may be, right? You can start small, but if you have the vision, if you have the drive to grow it, you can eventually grow it. I just want SAFE to be just a model for other organizations to say, you know, if SAFE could do it, we can do it. But also lay out a blueprint, right? I can't do this work alone. We need a lot more people to do it. And so I tell people I'm an open book. If you have any questions, just ask me. I'm more than happy to share with you my blueprint that I've used, just because, again, I can't do this work alone and there's so much there. So I just want SAFE to be known as that organization that has built a model that can be replicated, that is sustainable. And then ultimately my goal is to open up a school. And so once I had that school open, you know, then our model is complete. And I just want that legacy to be something that started from the ground and was built up by a young guy from West Baltimore who cared about his community. Baltimore definitely needs a boost now and continuing on, just because there are 2 Baltimores. I've had the privilege of being a part of both. I am a part of both Baltimores. And the other part, one part of Baltimore is doing very well. Baltimore City is doing very well. The other part is struggling. But why can't we share those resources and opportunities? Why can't we provide the things that are needed to our underserved communities? And so much of the work falls on grassroots organizations. So much of the work falls on grassroots organizations. Yet grassroots organizations are, as I mentioned, my biggest struggle is always fundraising. We're always looking for funding. We're always searching for funding. And a lot of times it takes us away from actually doing the work. And so how can we create a model of some sort, or someone take a look at this and say, if nonprofits are having a huge impact in our communities that many organizations, much larger organizations, can't really get to and have an impact in, how can we support them with whatever it is that they need, funding, whatever resources, whatever they need to continue to do that work and to grow and expand that work, because our kids are our future. And if we aren't preparing our kids to take over when our time is up, or when we decide that we want to retire, what does our future look like? And what does our future look like for our kids that we work with? uh, the cycle is going to continue. Those who have are going to continue to have and get more. Those who don't have are going to continue to go down that path. And so we need to disrupt that. And I think that the pandemic has exacerbated what has already been going on and what so many people have already been talking about. And now that is there, it's forefront and is in the center, we cannot allow it to go back to being in the shadows. And so all the support that we can get is definitely needed, but it needs to get into the right places. It needs to get into the right hands. It needs to get to the people that are actually on the ground doing the work, and not have that trickle down. We can't have the trickle down because it's diluted by the time it gets to where it needs to be. And so we just need to have a change in how things have been operating. And it all begins with a mindset. People need to just think about it differently. It hasn't been working. And we need to try something new.